What is up, people of YouTube? I'm your host Vernon. This is Las Vegas Wash. Let's fish that. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I've made my way back down here to 33 hole, walking down to do some fishing. My previous video, the one from last week, was here at 33 hole. That's the one that I used some anchovies to catch some fish, showing that it's quite easy to catch these small little stripers if you use bait. If fishing was like a game, that would be the easy mode. My plan for today was coming out here to do a casual mode or a normal mode, where I wanted to use some lures and only use lures to catch some fish out there. I wanted to specifically focus on stuff like topwater. I have a little Zara spook here. I was working that the entire morning trying to get some fish on that, but fishing doesn't always go according to plan. For instance, when I got out here this morning, there was quite a lot of filth and sludge in the water. This entire point that I wanted to fish, I could not fish it at all. If you cast anything out there, your entire line gets clogged up with this sludge. So I packed up my stuff thinking that I was not going to make a video, and went to some of the other coves in the area. And as time went on, the sludge kind of washed up against the shoreline, meaning the waters are open and clear again. But it is now later in the day, and I've been having quite a lot of follows on the top water, but having some hits here and there, but not catching anything on the top water. So basically that was the idea of my video for today, and that went out of the window. But last time I was out here, some of the local guys around here shared some of their knowledge with me. They explained to me this particular point that I'm at, how that works, and how the bait fish gets trapped behind this point, and how the fish comes through every few minutes or so to try and catch some of these bait fish. So remembering that little lesson, I brought my net out here with me today, and I thought, let's catch some bait fish, and with that see if we can catch any stripers or bass out there. Okay, so we have a big school of bait fish swimming around this area, but they have grown kind of wary of me. They are tending to stay a bit further out, making it difficult for me to reach with my net. If they come in about 3 feet, I might be able to get them again. But these little fish are smart. They know to stay away from the banks. But I'm going to use my net, try and get some more. Alright guys, caught quite a few with this throw, but I'm going to keep some of these and the rest I'm going to throw back, because these are way too many. They're going to die. So a quick hint for you guys, when trying to remove the fish, if they don't drop out by themselves, it means they tend to unstuck in the net. And the way it works is the fish's scales and stuff is making it stuck. So rather than going backwards, you need to go forward. What I mean with that, the fish is stuck and you're pulling him forward and they come out easily. Okay, so let me quickly show you guys what it is that I'm using out here today. I have one of these little see-through bobbers on. I have this with some beads on there to protect the knots. And on both sides of this little bobber of mine, I have some barrel swivels. The swivels are just to ensure that my bobber stays a certain depth. I want to see when the bobber goes down rather than moving up the line. This is a great way of pinning it in place, so you can see when the bobber goes under. And from my bobber, I have about a 2-foot leader with my little owner life lining hook on there. And I'm putting on some of these tiny shads on these hooks, throwing it out there and waiting for the schools of bass to come around. They swim around the bay and they come back and grab some of these little shad, and then they swim around again. So I'm casting this next to the school of baitfish, waiting for these bass to make their return around, and hopefully they will go for my baitfish as it struggles in the water. Okay, so I'm hooking these little guys through the back. That just gives them a good swimming action underneath the little bobber. And then let's just cast it out there. You can see my little baitfish swimming around. Hopefully that will attract the attention of the bass. Small bass below it. I hit my little baitfish. It looks to be still alive. A school of about 7 bass underneath, all of them small. And they seem to have swum back. I'm using the little see-through bobber because I don't want the fish to see these yellow or red bobbers and be scared of the thing. So I'm using the little see-through one. And we have a fish on. Alright guys, here we have our first fish for today. Small little largemouth bass. Quickly get him unhooked. That hook just barely missed his eye. That's why I prefer using a smaller hook. A bigger one we probably would have gotten his eye. But there we go guys, first fish for today. I've almost landed 6 different fish, some on top water, some while lifelining shad. This is the first fish I got for today. Let's quickly get this guy back into the water. And off he goes. Alright, struggling to get some of the shad, so I'm going back to my top water. There we go guys, finally got a little bass on the top water on my little Zara spook. I've been getting quite a lot of hits from these guys. They keep slamming it. This is the first one I actually hooked with both hooks. Nice good proper hook, not just one little part of the treble hook in him. This one was going nowhere. Really gonna get him loose from this and show you guys. So these largemouth bass, they're on the fringes of these bait balls. As soon as they see a fish that's injured, they love hitting it. That's why they go for the top water lures. As soon as these little things dart around on top, these guys think it's an injured fish, easy meal, and they go for it. Alright, but that's my second little fish for today. I'm struggling getting some of the shad. They've moved in deeper. I can see them out there, but I cannot cast all the way out there. So I was using the top water lure again, and that's when I managed to get this little guy. I'm quickly going to put him back into the water. Say goodbye. Okay, but now that I got a fish on this, I can quickly explain to you guys what I'm doing. Casting out there, then just pulling on the little rod setup that I have. This imparts a little side to side action on the lure, and it's this side to side action that draws in the fish, and if you're lucky enough they grab onto the hooks, otherwise they hit your lures. I've seen a few hits where lure flies through the air, quite vicious attacks on these lures, but they don't always get hooked. Now if you've been following my channel for quite a while, you will know that a lot of the fishing I do with any type of rod, some cheap rods as well. I quite regularly use my ugly stick, whether it be as a spinning rod or as a bait casting rod. I like the idea of things being versatile, having more than one use. When it comes to something like topwater fishing, you need specific type of gear. So the rod that I'm using out here is a medium heavy rod. That just shows you the amount of bend the rod has. Or a heavy rod is quite stiff, it doesn't do lots of bending. A medium heavy like mine has a bit more action. And then if you go to something like light, that kind of bends all the way around. You need a stiff rod, that's why I go for a medium heavy. It still has a bit of action to it, but it is rather stiff because you need to be ripping on your bait to impart the movement on there. I'm also using some 10-pound braided line on my reel with a 12-pound fluoro leader. Reason being, you want the braid stiff, so again that it imparts the action a lot better to your lure. But because braid is visible to fish, I tend to use the leader. I like to use the leader in a clear line. That is why I went for fluorocarbon. Also kind of fluorocarbon does sink, whereas braid does float. So this also just helps balance out your lure. So when trying to go for some topwater, please do ensure that you have the correct gear to do so. This rod of mine is intermediate. That means it doesn't bend at the tip. It's not a fast action, so it's not at the tip. It bends in the middle. That just helps to pin the fish a bit better, but it is still a stiff rod, so you can get that action. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this video did not turn out the way I thought at all. Like I said, I came here to do some topwater fishing, ended up doing some more live bait fishing, but did some topwater fishing as well. But that's kind of how fishing works. I spend quite a couple of hours out here. I've been here since 8 o'clock this morning. It is now 2 p.m. So quite a long time out here, and I only managed to get 3 bass. I only got 2 on camera. So for all practical purposes, only got 2 little largemouth bass for the entire day of fishing. So it is slow fishing out here. But hey, at least I got some bass out of it. Now I've been also throwing quite a lot of shad imitation lures out there, stuff that really look realistic, but for some reason these fish only go for the shad, and they only go for them when these fish flutter at the top or kind of look like they're dying. Swimming shad they're not interested in. They're only going for stuff that looks hurt or looks injured. That is why lifelining these fish is a good idea. They look injured and the fish automatically will go for them. It helps to give the fish a bit of time to just swallow the entire fish before setting the hook. If you set the hook immediately, if the bobber goes down, you're gonna miss your chance to catch that fish. Happened to me quite a lot today. But I do hope that you guys learned something from this video. I want to thank you for following me out here and watching this video. If you're new to the channel, please do hit the big red subscribe button. Join my community. Once we get to 1,000 subscribers, we unlock the community tab and we can have some chats there, and I can ask you guys some questions and get some feedback from you as well. Okay, but if you learned anything in this video or found it to be informative or entertaining, please do give me a little thumbs up. Feel free to ask any questions down in the comments. All right, but thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.